Now, something crazy going on in the cartoon community, specifically one specific post from the person called Red from X/Twitter, posting a simple question you probably hear hundreds of times every single day, especially you have four franchise, one should be deleted. Which one? And the simple post showing four DreamWorks franchises will be How to Train Your Dragon, Madagascar, Shrek, and Kung Fu Panda. And you think it would be a fun little thing. It was. Till someone posted something interesting saying, I cannot delete Madagascar. That's the best, easiest choice. But I cannot delete it because the line says you basically abused the birthday wish. Now you basically gave us all bad luck. That is basically one of the lines of the original movie of Madagascar. But I have to say, this simple response for the original question kind of developed sort of a snowball effect around the community because the How to Train Your Dragons and the Madagascar community starting arguing back and forth. And it's just sort of kind of crazy because usually this argument stops about a day or two and that's it. It's been about I think 4 or 5 days, and that's sort of shocking because every time I go to Twitter/X just to scroll around to see what's up, it's always someone arguing or making a point of which show should be deleted, specifically Madagascar and How You Train Your Dragon. But I have to say, this is sort of a handicap sort of fight because one is obvious better than the other one, but I'm not diminished the quality of the Wicker show or Wicker franchise because both of them are good but completely different ways and useful in the cartoon community. And of course, I think this sort of post someone put in that sort of describes sort of the fight of this community, that basically you put How to Train Dragon next to each other to Madagascar. How to Train Dragon has lore, tons of it. How the dragon, the world, the characters, development has so many things into it. To compare to Madagascar, it's just funny. In a way, it's kind of true. This is the reason why I say this feels like a handicap fight. But Madagascar fans will not let this go and keep posting again and again different arguments about why Madagascar is the superior series till a fan kind of get the magic bullet and kill off the old idea of Madagascar being that good, showing everybody How to Train a Dragon is the part of the best franchise of DreamWorks. Of course, before I break it down, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you, because I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let me break down of the reflection of the cartoon community arguing about this two franchise, which is actually better. Now let's get started. Now, to be fair, both franchises are actually good, but their own different way and very unique execution. For example, Madagascar is more about memorable moments that you always remember because it's all about the comedy, but at the same time they allow them to be experimental of any little thing in the franchise, also able to adapt to any side of entertainment, to books, to games, to basically audio dramas, because it's a comedy first, but they have to realize you need to love the characters, and that itself why it's the biggest strength of Madagascar. This is the reason why it's so easy to adapt to so many things while trying. Just to make this point, because obvious I know which is the better franchise is How to Train Your Dragon, but I'm not condemning basically Madagascar. Of course, let me break down the reflection of some people's own opinion, what's actually how they feel about this. You know what? I think this first post kind of explains how people feel about both franchise. At the same time, why these two kind of fans are usually henny butts. Instead of this post that showing the percentage of each single kind of franchise of this question, but be note the franchise of How to Train Your Dragon and Madagascar have two completely different point of views. The first one is sort of How to Train Your Dragon is sort of 80% drama, 20% comedy. To compare to Madagascar, it's almost 90% comedy, 10% drama. In that itself tells you what type of people like How to Train Your Dragon and Madagascar, because in the very end, one is sort of very dramatic and intelligent and developed, and the other one just want to be silly, have a good time. But this pretty normal in the cartoon community. Every time a show focuses on being silly, then becomes dramatic, these two groups usually pop out and usually duke it out to the very end, arguing, convincing the creator do more silly, less serious, or do more serious than silly. Because at the very end, both want one specific thing, not the other. This is what I mean why these two basically fans headbutting each other every single time something this come out, and nothing wrong with that, but it's sort of obvious. Depends what type of person you really are and why you're so connected to or one or the other. In fact, one post as a fan of Madagascar says he or they always prefer Madagascar, never give a chance How to Train a Dragon because it's kind of too serious or doesn't really grab my attention. And that's sort of obvious. 100% sure some of you probably never saw all the franchise of DreamWorks, especially this 4, but you like me who likes animation, who talks animation, because that's sort of my career. It's sort of obvious I have to watch all of them, at least try to watch all of them, but at the very end, it's just sort of what you choose, what you like, not a word, so what you grab your attention. But at the same time, I have to show you another opinion of different fans saying this is the only show or franchise that actually use a side character becoming a main villain of the sequel series of Madagascar, in pointing out basically the fight of the old grandma and Skipper going 1-on-1 to this sort of battle royale, at least in the sequel film. I'm kind of disappointed they never do that a third time or give a nod to it, but other than that, that is kind of true. This is why Madagascar's biggest strength is sort of the comedy, because I love them to be creative. In fact, it's another good point a fan point out of Madagascar is the fact they actually have so much fun for little different things, like just basic commercials, that sort of Kodiak or sort of film photos they attempted to sell back in early 2000s that Madagascar penguins were especially selling in commercial, but the whole short is just sort of a gag after gag trying to escape but being true to the original core characters, or even trying. To compare to How to Train Your Dragon, can't really do that because it's more dramatic than comedy. Once again, just to show you how strong the comedy really is, how creatively you actually show it. And this is sort of the reasons why people like Madagascar. But at the same time, you can't argue about the fans of How to Train Your Dragon. That How to Train Your Dragon is more mature, developed, more basically Oscar worthy, more cinematic. Especially this sort of fan posted the basically magic bullet, posting bullet point by bullet point. It's over, I think, 27 points, and good chunk of it is just sort of fun facts, but the first 12 or 10 is actually pretty well written and debated points why How to Train Your Dragon is a superior show. Of course, there's so many. I'm gonna do probably the first 10 and I gotta stop because it just goes on and on. It's almost killed the whole conversation saying, when you watch this post, you get it why people prefer How to Train Your Dragon. Let's start with the first one. Now, the first point of this fan list is basically saying the first film was super successful. They asked the original director to come back, but the only problem is the director refused and was saying, if I come back, I had to do a trilogy, not a sequel. And DreamWorks agreed about this condition because how big it really was. That same year, they decided to announce they're doing 2 movies about How to Train Your Dragons. Now, second point, it was, if every single movie of the How to Train Your Dragon got nominated for an award, even won some of them. But it's the only DreamWorks franchise who has all 3 films nominated. That never happened done before. How DreamWorks sort of franchise, only How to Train Your Dragon. Now, third point about this is basically all trilogy films made about $1.6 billion, each one having close to 49 billion, 62 billion, and 521 billion each single film. They only the third one sort of drop. This is the third point. Fourth point, this is probably the first animated film having a live action adaptation of the original DreamWorks franchise. In fact, the movie was so satisfying on the network they decided to make a sequel movie before the movie actually released. They were that satisfied and amazed how good the film movie really is. Just being known, the film is not yet released during this recording. Now, fifth point is the fact the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, they both rate this between first and second on the first movie, second movie between 6th and 5th, and the third movie will be 9th place. If you look at all of their ratings, you can see they are the highest ones of the franchise of DreamWorks. Fifth point, IBM rating system of all DreamWorks films, only How to Train Your Dragon make up to the top 10. The rest of the DreamWorks franchise of different films usually is beneath it. Of course, the next point of this sort of letter or ranking system, whatever you call it, number 6 would be 3 short films less than a year. Each one will come up the next couple of months will be October 14, 2010, November 15, 2011, and November 15, 2011. And these all 3 shorts were actually really good, even that they didn't need to try that hard. Point number 7, this is the one is sort of completely convinced me why How to Train Your Dragon was actually that high respected, because DreamWorks actually made sort of a kind of live theater performance on Australia that lasted a year or two, but you see the performance online, believe me, it was kind of surprised how good it really is. Now, point 8 and point 9, it's the same kind of thing, but different networks. One would be Cartoon Network show will actually appear on August the 7th, 2012 and March 4th, 2014. 2 seasons of totally 40 episodes, and continuing the series of the second spin-off or second series of Netflix, running on June 26, 2015 and ending February 16, 2018, lasting to 6 seasons and total 78 episodes. And on top of all this, tip number 10 or point number 10 would be all of it is basically 50 hours of entertainment that you could watch under 2 days if you choose to watch everything. And they continue on. They still have plenty more. They also have the sort of park from Universal, not yet built, but they have other parks built around the world, specifically from How to Train Your Dragons. And they continue on. This have a total of 27 points. Mostly fun facts, awards, winning book series, novels, comic books, etc. It just continues on. But everything is always high quality that you cannot ignore because it is high quality. But to be fair, Madagascar, at least the whole franchise, also has high quality comedy, but it's sort of most point everybody makes it usually just talking about the penguins or King Julian. Those are the two who basically robbed the whole franchise from the main 4 leads of the original Madagascar. But at the very end, it's still funny, still remember, still very experimental. But it's obvious why I think How to Train Your Dragon is maybe the superior show or a franchise. But I have not denied Madagascar, kind of leaving free on your own mind because how funny and memeable everything come out. In fact, every single thing a fans show of the original Madagascar usually is from Penguins of Madagascar's spin-off series or King Julian series. But to be fair, King Julian, All Hail King Julian series was surprisingly really good. The people who talk about it give it a lot of praise. I have never seen it, never had interest to see it, but people say you missing out because it is very good. Not just funny based. People describe it as sort of almost Game of Thrones for kids, but a very well thought out strategy how to take one king or one royal of the sort of situation they put themselves into. Once more, a little bit high praise, but that high praise possibly is true. I don't know. But other than that, that's all I can say in the arguments and know my opinion why I think How to Train Your Dragon is a superior series or franchise, because the very end, the franchise always held up with high quality, except for one that everybody forgets to mention, that I have to mention because it's sort of unfair if I don't. That'd be Dragons the Nine Realms. That one, you can leave it or have it in the canon lore. But at the very end, fans choose to not remember that. That was a garbage sort of show. I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I do recognize it's completely terrible. But other than that, what do you think? Do you believe this argument is just ridiculous, or you just don't care, or you just enjoy both series? Tell me down below what your own thoughts. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.